Hello and welcome everyone back to the channel, Ben Weather. Hope you've all had a great weekend, and today we're going to be covering some very big news within the British weather for sure. Yeah, as you see on screen, June 2023 was the hottest on record for the UK, according to provisional Met Office figures. Provisional or not, it is pretty much going to be the hottest on record, and that, pretty extraordinary scenes. It's almost like year on year now we are just smashing temperature records, and yeah, with climate change, it's inevitable that we're only going to see many more records being broken as well. So we're just gonna run through a few of the things, just talk about why it was so hot throughout the month, and sort of along those lines, look at some of the statistics and the images. So the first one on screen is the mean temperature. Now you can see that for much of actually England into Scotland, temperatures were within 0.5 to 1.5 degrees. No, that's not right. They were within 1.5 to 2.5 degrees above average. For much of Western England into Wales, West Scotland, we're looking at 2.5 to 3.5 above average. And actually for the far northwest of Scotland, they were much closer to 4 degrees above average for the entire month, which is pretty extraordinary actually. Now, for eastern areas, people might be questioning why was it a little bit less warm above average for eastern areas. And actually the start of the month was generally driven by a lot of fresh easterly winds off the North Sea, which contributed to the fact that particularly the start of June there wasn't particularly warm, but as some of the synoptics sort of changed, the east warmed up very quickly actually, and actually for then the rest of the month recorded some of the highest temperatures for the UK. So I'm just going to get up I'm just trying to figure out where to get the image. Should have had it beforehand. So yeah, just going to get up this image right here, and it really is basically is an old model run actually for the middle sort of latter half of June, and really just shows why the weather was so warm really. Primarily high pressure and charge to the south of the UK. Now through the month the orientation and the position of that high pressure did change, but for the most part it was located over the UK, and particularly sort of first half of the month the winds were coming in from more of a southeasterly direction, so that was pumping up the warm air from Central Europe, France, Spain, Italy, Germany, pumping up that warm air across the UK. And as the month gone on, high pressure became very dominant across the UK. And because we already had that warm air in place, with the very strong surface heating, we were able to develop sort of our own warm air mass. Because winds are relatively light as well, high pressure, sunny skies, temperatures slowly risen day on day. And what was very striking was the remarkable consistency of the very warm weather, and high pressure really was in charge for much of the month, besides right at the start and right at the end of the month. So yeah, so the high pressure really being a key feature for the record breaking temperatures. So there's the downloads. Now we're just going to head over to the Met Office article, which is definitely an interesting read if you want to give it a read. But yeah, a lot of people mention actually the highest temperature was only 32 degrees. Now, in comparison to the likes of 1976, when we get some significantly higher temperatures, but throughout the month, it was just a case that this June was very warm. Persistently very warm rather than very hot for a week or two and then very cool for the remaining week or two. It was just the persistent very warm weather which actually led to this temperature record being broken. Now, one thing to note is the temperature record. I don't know if the statistic was here, but yeah, here we go. So the temperature record was actually broken by 0.9 of a degree, which is very significant when it comes to breaking long-term temperature records. With climate change, records like these are, likely to be broken more and more. But generally, with records, you're only expecting them to be broken by 0.1, 0.2 of a degree. 0.9 of a degree is a very significant breaking of the record. Yeah, extraordinary stuff. And you can see the rest of the statistics. 4th sunniest June on record, as you would expect if it's going to be the hottest June, and drier than average for most, besides the exception of parts of central England, which saw some pretty large thunderstorms at times. So yeah, there's that. Now, one of the big actually contributing factors, which I'm sure you've heard about, is the marine heat wave, which has been classed as a Category 4, which stands for a severe marine heat wave. And so the sea surface temperatures have been significantly above average, talking 4 or 5 degrees. And actually, when winds have ended up coming from more of a southwesterly direction, because the seas aren't as cold, there's less time for that air mass to be modified, as we would call it, to sort of cool down before it reaches our land. And the fact that the sea surface temperature has been quite warm has meant that the air mass, while coming up and potentially crossing the English Channel, etc., hasn't had the chance to cool down, which is a very big contributing factor actually, and they definitely go hand in hand. So yeah, very significant regarding that. There is the rainfall amounts as well. And yeah, if we just scroll to the bottom, you can see the statistics right there. So England, of all of the 4 nations, actually had the lowest mean temperature anomaly. Wales, Scotland 2.7, Northern Ireland at 3 degrees above average. And you can see there, mean temperature is very extraordinary, 17 degrees actually, which when you think about it is very indicative of some very warm nights, and that was definitely a feature for the most part. I mean, you see there the minimum temperature on average for England was 11.2, which we're talking all parts of England, including the far north, the far southwest, which are potentially more influenced by colder weather, but further east, for the most part, nighttime temperatures did not drop below 14 or 15 degrees. Daytime temperatures mid-20s easily for large parts of England for weeks. So very extraordinary weather actually, and it just shows that you do not need very significant maximums and minimums to break these temperature records so drastically as well. So remarkable stuff. That's June 2023. July, as it stands, not looking quite as exceptional by any means, but there are some indications that the weather may warm up as we go into the end of this week, the weekend. And I'll have a video out about that at some point. But yeah, that is just an overview of June 2023 being the hottest June on record. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a good week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.